I love helping people. Um, the thrill of actually listening to a client, finding out what their needs are, and then molding a solution that they hadn't even thought of before. So many people come to us and say, I've got this need, I don't know what to do. It's not just I've got this, I need to buy this equipment. No, I have this specific business need. I'm trying to figure out the best way to solve this need. To bounce ideas off, to throw ideas around, to figure out the best way to assist that client, and then see that need lift the pressure off their shoulders is a thrill. It just makes your day. Knowing that, again, they go home, they're relaxed, they've got somebody on their side. And that's a big thing. Not just somebody who's going to make money out of them, but someone who's actually on their side. Someone who is helping them achieve what they want to achieve. If I can help somebody reach their goals today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, through solutions-orientated ideas, that makes running a business worthwhile. And they will come back. They will refer someone to us. There's always an old adage that says that if you have somebody who has a good experience, they won't tell many people. If you have somebody who has a bad experience, they'll tell heaps and heaps and heaps of people. So you've got to balance out making sure that you're looking after people and giving them a good solution and a good end to what we've arranged for them. Because people forget to tell other people. But if you have 100 people we've done well with, if you have 100 people who have got the solution that they wanted, they tell one other person. That's a potential extra 100 clients. Yes, you'll always have the difficult deals where things haven't quite gone right for whatever reason. And that can be human error. That can be things are just too hard to do for whatever reason. If the client doesn't meet certain parameters they need to, then sometimes people get aggrieved. But having the ability to look after somebody and for them to tell their friends. I've got many clients. I actually had a client ring me yesterday from a referral of someone else who had a great experience. Now, the funny thing is I actually know the client, but when we started chatting about his specific needs, we threw ideas around and we found a solution for him. He's now going and looking for a car. He thought of getting a cheap car to meet his needs, and he may still do that, but I gave him some other ideas where he could potentially get a better quality and less ongoing issues car with a balloon or a residual, which allows him to keep his payments down now. He thought of the idea and thought, what a great idea. All of a sudden, he doesn't have to worry about his 2 young kids and his wife being stuck in a car, which may break down or may have a large cost at the next mechanic's job because they bought a cheapie. The beauty is he has the power now to decide which way he goes. That's what's satisfying within the business, being able to help people to have that power.
I don't know.
We arrange finance in many what I would call niche areas. One particular niche area is in catering equipment for restaurants and for takeaways and generally the food industry. We had a client who, for various reasons, had closed down a particular structure, sole trader, and created a company. He was still staying within the same premises. He was still staying within the same trading name, but he was struggling to get finance in his own right because he had changed an ABN and perception was that it was a higher risk profile. Again, we asked the questions. Again, we listened to what his specific needs were, and we structured a couple of finance facilities to meet his specific needs. It allowed him to upgrade that equipment. It allowed him to actually bring in some new equipment, which created a new line of products for him. And the feedback I've received is that things are going fantastically well, simply because we created a solution for him. We made sure, number one, he could afford it, but he could because he was continuing this business. But it's thinking outside the box. It's not being restricted by the first thing you hear. Asking those questions is the best thing you can possibly do. To someone who doesn't think this way, all they would have heard was this company has only been going for 6 months. All of a sudden, it's too hard. Sorry, on to the next deal. For most people, we simply ask the right questions at the right time.
Like banks, for example.
Well, banks and other finance companies, and unfortunately, many brokers think that way. It's what they call picking the low-hanging fruit. It's what they call picking the easy deals. In the end, to me, that was an easy deal to do because I simply asked the right questions, found out that this person had many years' experience, had a property, had a clear credit history, met the guidelines. It was just a simple change of structure, which eliminated probably 75% of the people in my industry. As in, 75% of my industry don't think to ask these questions. The banks have their square box. Many finance companies have their square box. Many finance brokers think one way. There's only one way to do it. Too hard, on to the next deal. If I walk away from an application, it's because I cannot figure out any way possible to do it. Legally, ethically, and morally correctly. And they're important. Doing things the right way for people. But if I can't figure out a way to do it, then I'll let the client know. At the moment, it's not the right time for you to do it, or I simply cannot help you.
Okay.
The business has gone through many different roller coaster rides over the last 20 odd years. In 2007, we actually decided, as part of our goal, dream, vision to become our own finance company, to take the company public. And to do that, we saw the ability to raise capital and to raise funding lines with specific funders which would allow us to become the actual financier. Now, 2007, we raised a certain amount of capital and we put the systems in place. We actually had contracts signed by a particular funding underwriter to start funding our own deals. For all intents and purposes, we were on that ride. It was ready to go. The world, as we knew it, as a finance company, was about to start, which was our goal and our dream. People remember that 2007 and 2008 was the start of the GFC. In retrospect, it was actually the best thing that could have happened for us, because the timing of the GFC, the timing of the particular funder I'm talking about pulling out of Australia, stopped us from getting burnt 6 months later. Was it devastating at the time? Of course it was. But if we had begun trading as a finance company with that particular underwriter, that financier, and we then had them pull out of Australia, our whole reputation within the industry would have been destroyed. As it was, a good 5 or 6 financiers in our niche markets at the time closed down overnight, because this particular underwriter, this particular financier, was the main financier in our industry for most of the finance companies. Everyone was affected. What it meant for David Pryor and Wendy Pryor and Priority Funding was that I had 2 choices to make, because I'd raised capital, and that capital was used to establish the systems. The choices I had were the easy way out: go broke, walk away, bury my head, go get a job somewhere, or to hold on to that vision, hold on to that integrity, because I had raised capital from individuals. So what I decided to do was effectively reduce our business down to as low a cost base as I could and start paying those investors back. Now, technically, when you have a public company, they invest in a public company, it's risk. You don't have to pay them back. My integrity would not allow me to actually not pay them back. Again, I can look someone in the eye in 5, 10, 20 years down the track. If I got investment funds from them, if I wasn't to pay them back and say, sorry, you lost your money, I couldn't look them in the eye. Even if they accepted that as a risk, I personally couldn't look them in the eye. If I paid them back, which I have, I can invite them to my home and have a barbecue with me knowing that I've done the right thing. And they would come knowing that I've done the right thing. And to me, that personal touch, that personal connection with people is what keeps me going on a daily basis.